Okay, yeah, we are back again on a live stream, but I'm not sure if it's running. Let's see. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't see. Let's see. Why don't we have any? Oh. Okay, are we live? It's a bit strange. Okay, let's see. I was a bit fiddling around, guys. Let me see if we are live. Hey, okay. Hey, yes, here we are again. Another live stream, and yes, it's we left off last week. We had a nice session with Predator-2, and I thought, yeah, well, maybe just move on and doing some things inside this base. And okay, let's see. What I added now is a little short sound. So what is maybe nice to continue with this track, and maybe it's an idea to make a contest of this one, to make a remix. We had this plan already before, but never did it work out. And we had also another guy who made a nice remix from one melody, but maybe this would be an idea. So give me a second, guys. So you see, I have here essentially some presets. I only changed from last week the bass drum. That other one was a bit too heavy. So here we have the bass drum. Yeah, this could be maybe nice. So, but before we move on with this one, we have, of course, now a situation worldwide, and if you are have to stay in home, well, I would say go behind your computer and create some music. So last time somebody asked me, oh yeah, what would this for kind of track? Would it be deep house or dot 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 house, whatever? And but originally my music is totally different. So if I last Saturday I did a new track for a new solo CD, and maybe I can show this to you. I extract always to my D, and I have called this folder audio drop. So audio drop. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Normally I throw it in audio drop, so when I export outside Cubase, it always lands in this folder underscore audio drop. So, but in this case, the song is mixed, and it's somewhere here. Let me see. Okay, 2020, and it's very more relaxing music. So if I open this now, okay. It's 7 minutes, so then you can my music, what I normally create. And in this piece, by the way, what you hear now, this is a stacked sound, and after this, let's see, but not too loud. Sound is okay. So this is really a pad sound, and then these sequences start in, and these sequences are BIT for the bass sequence, and you will hear a very low sound, which is a sound from Punch 2. Everybody in the chat room. Okay, enough self-promotion. But this is the music style where I come from. So last week somebody asked, yeah, what type of house this would be. But yeah, there are so many types of house. You have underground, you have trillion styles. So this was simply a bit of electronics music, what I showed you. And yeah, what I was doing last week was a bit house typey. But so I'm not originally a dance producer from that point. The time when we created our music, there was essentially no house at that time. There was I talk about the 80s, and a bit later in the 80s the house came, and of course in the early 90s. So that a bit about the about my own music and where I come from. And it's very relaxing music what I make. A lot of sequences, ambience inside of it, melodic. So yeah, what I did last week was this, and at the end, what I did with Predator-2 is that I controlled with my modulation wheel the FX1 mix. So, and you see also here in this track here, you see these things go up, the little hills, which are the modulation wheels. So when I play it, the reverb changes. I'm not sure I placed this last one that I did just ahead of the live stream. I was adding this one, but I'm not sure if this one is good. So I was more thinking about having something which combines together with this sound. So a kind of sequence sound that combines together with that one so that it blends into one thing. Okay, I'm checking the live stream. Yeah, I mean, it's, each synthesizer has its own focus. Essentially, if you would have only one synthesizer from the Papen brand, you already could make a whole track. I mean, this one uses then not that much. It's most of them is Predator-2. There's a raw kick, which is a very gentle one, not the hard distorted ones. This is more an EDM kick. And the EDM kick is fully synthesis. So you see here, that's really a synthesized kick. It's a bit more friendly than the other one we had. Yeah, then raw has a little thing here. Oh yeah, the pitched thing of the what I did is having to have a bit of okay. So you see the modulation wheel. Okay, and it's indeed a bit pitched. So what I do on this, it's just one saw sound, is that there's a little pitch envelope which is on semi 1, so it changes the oscillator 1. So if I would, it's now the decay is 7 milliseconds, so it's a very short, more creating a click in this saw, because if I increase this, so with this very fast envelopes, Predator has very fast, you really can create a click. Also can say bypass. So now it's the sound without this little pitch click. It does give a little edge to it. And so keep in mind, if you use something like a pitch envelope on an oscillator, that you keep the sustain always on 0. Otherwise, you detune the sound because the decay goes down to sustain, and if the sustain is not 0, yeah, well then the pitch is also not going down. So if I increase now the sustain, see, you detune it. So yeah, the presets I saved. Maybe it's an idea if I here we had one noise. Let's see, this one as well noise we used. So that one was more for doing a classic. Okay, and then I had this sound. I'm not sure what this one is here. Let me check, guys, because it's Predator-2, but the label for the track is wrong. Yeah, it's not fitting that well inside of this, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, of course, the first time when you see Predator-2, it's indeed a lot of controls. So this sound I keep on mute, and I go back to that sound I also did not like. Maybe we should create something different. So here I simply, when I go here to the bank manager, I can pick, of course I'm now in the EDM dance bank, but let's see. So all kind of lead sounds. Okay, it's a bit loud. Okay, I have again two sounds at once, which is not correct. This is the same thing I had last week, which is totally weird. I must have somewhere a MIDI loop. Okay. Isn't that weird, isn't it? I keep on hearing these strings and I don't have it selected. Okay, let me see how I... Still, where is this? It's this sound which also plays on other tracks. It's very strange. Okay, back to Predator-2. Yeah, it's mine. Yeah, there are many controls. I totally understand that. If you compare this with the first Predator, there's a lot more. Although, if you look on what is inside of it, you have 3 oscillators, and they're pretty high because we have the morphing inside. Then we have 2 filters up here, and they can work in different modes. And then you also have a high-pass filter. Filter LFO, which is connected to the filter, amp section with the main envelopes, and essentially this upper part is the audio part, and then you have more controlling parts like how it plays as an arpeggiator. You have the effects section, the XY pad which you can address. So it has tons of possibility, but of course I understand that at the first time it can be very overwhelming if you see all the controls. And I think once we will create Predator-2, we'll make it also a bit different, make it a bit wider than it is now, and change also a few things. So there's always a development which we have, and you can see that very clearly with Punch compared to Punch 2. And of course now with software a lot is possible now, far more possibilities there are. I mean, the screens get bigger, so you can also have more functions inside the synthesizer. Predator-2, for instance, doesn't fit on a old computer which has 768 height, so this older height. You need at least a full HD screen, which most people have to have Predator-2 visible. Okay. Yeah, some in terms of pages, things are very similar. Of course, in Predator 2, the sub pages are down here, and if you go to Punch 2, the pages are in the upper section. By the way, I have a good news about Punch 2. Let's see if I can open it here. I'm not sure if I... Here we have Punch 2. And up here you can see the big pages, so the advanced page, which is for each pad. But the news about Punch 2 is here in the sample page, because here you can see something else. Current folder, that's where you are on this, and drop folder to user. Which means normally if you do drag and drop with a sample, it always drops in the main root. So if I go up here, this is the main root of the sample folder. You see a lot of folders which have all kind of samples on board, and number 2 is for the user. So essentially that one would be for you. And if you do then a drag and drop, if you're on the main page and you drag and drop a sample to a pad, it always lands in this main root, so down here. Well, now in the next version, hopefully in April, you have the option to select a import folder. So you could say drop folder is to user, which is down here. So if I would drop now a sample, it would fall into this folder. You see your sample, which I dropped in here. So I did this testing, and so you can determine yourself which folder you use for drag and drop your samples. So these are things we are still working on. That's a little news about the Punch 2. Okay, so yeah, and then we have the plan for have colorized, so that you as user can pick a different color for the type of pad, so that the bass drums have a different color, or the snares. Okay, I'm looking here. Yeah, different color skins for Predator. Well, and then in the oscillators, we have an alternative color, which is the white one, the white color of Predator 2. But not a different color for here. I think if I would design Predator 2 now, I would have done things again different. This has to do with the designer we work with. This is another designer, different designer, and the other designer is a bit different in the workflow. And so the next version, Predator 2, don't expect it soon. Predator 2 will come out someday. We'll have another graphic designer. And of course, yeah, there's always something you can improve. For instance, the user wave, we have here the big screen. But now I'm maybe thinking maybe should the button for the user waves up here. So these are always things which, yeah, we keep in mind. And of course, Predator 2 is a big, heavy synthesizer in terms of features. There's so many things you can do. It's essentially a modular synthesizer. But okay, let's go back to the little beat, what we are doing. And I go here to the example, simply default preset. Let's see what happens. So could say an arpeggiator maybe. Octaves maybe. And what we can do is also now the velocity is determined by the arpeggiator, because you see here this dial is fully set to velocity from this row, but if I go to the more to the right, you get the velocity of the keyboard. And of course I need to put on the velocity of the keyboard, so it's responding, the arpeggiator is responding to my keyboard, and of course I need to add the velocity here. So that's nice for doing some notes a bit harder. So this one is the velocity is now from the keyboard. So this is also very, I think there's so much to tell about the arpeggiator. So if this dial is to the left, then the velocity of this is, so if I changed here, you can hear it. Of course you need to have velocity active. So in the filter one, I opened this velocity so that it also responds to the filter. Now this is then the input from the velocity from the sequencer, but if I turn this one to the right, it's the keyboard velocity. And that can be very interesting because you can then make some accent note. Of course nice with a delay. So let's try to have something with this sound. Is simply one oscillator again. So I have, if correctly, I recorded this. Here it is. Here you see there. Then of course I can use quantize and then just see how it sounds. Maybe here, the amp envelope determines how the volume responds in on the volume curve. So if I make it very short, you get a very percussive sound. So with the arpeggiator, okay. Okay, let's go. I have to make it a bit shorter. So make it shorter. And of course, what is also the case is that with an arpeggiator sound, and it's maybe nice to show you guys now what you can do also yourself if you are working with Predator. So I make solo and my microphone, so you only hear Predator now. Let's see, left I place to 11 and I changed the locator's positions now so that okay, 20. Okay, so just to show you how much you can do. So I was tweaking the envelope, and you see you can make it shorter. So this is on the volume, short volume sound. And then of course, with that already you have a lot of control in terms of the sound. But keep in mind that at the same time there could be always also an envelope active. So this is an envelope, and when I open the envelope, it changes the cutoff frequency, and this does it over time using the envelope. So let's listen to this. So I increase now the envelope, this one, and this envelope also has its own working. So also here I can make things tend to be shorter, but it's happening inside the filter because the filter is very fast closed. So if you are working in the track, of course you can change the attack, decay, sustain and release of the amp section, but also keep in mind that the envelope in the filter could be active, and changing that one also influences a big deal the sound. So I play it again. And now in the music, and watch me changing the filter envelope, the amp envelope, cutoff frequency envelope amount, how much influence this has. Okay, solo off. Okay, 1 second. Changing it now in the filter envelope. Make it a bit longer. Less envelope. So many sounds just by changing the envelopes. Just make it suit nice to your music. So what DJs often do, they change the cutoff frequency to make it more open or less open, but then they forget that there is also an envelope amount, which also changes the sound a lot. So yeah, of course, these little things I tell in my book DVD, which is now sold out, but hopefully available very soon again. And then these type of things I teach, that if you work with synthesizers, with the envelopes, what the things are which you can do. Yeah, pitch LFO. If you put in pitch LFO, yeah. Oh, you mean on the sound to have it a bit more? Yeah, why not? Let's see how that happens. That would make the sound even more. I can use the pitch LFO for this. What I need to do, because the whole sequence is not okay to my ears. So what you can do here is, play around with this one. Let's see if, because this is the chords I play, and maybe by moving some parts can be more interesting. Let me see if that is the case. Maybe I might mess up, which is of course also possible. Let's see what happens. So that I make it a 2-bar event to have things. So let's see how this one. No, it's not good. I always seek for a kind of how you call that? Kind of recognition, so that you hear in the arpeggiator a kind of melody. So let's see. That makes more sense, but not fully as I want to have it. So let's see. So I'm really checking in what I could do. So I would remove these and then use these two. So I'm changing the whole sequence essentially. Quantize. Oh, here's another one. So I overlooked one note. That's a good one. Now let's try again. So now I really change the notes. Maybe I should make it a bit smaller. Okay, and let's see. So yeah, that's better. And then I need to have it stop there. And then I most likely can copy it a few times. I'm not 100% sure about it, but let's... Oops. Very, okay, this one. Okay, so of course with the arpeggiator, sometimes you play something, but yeah, it's then not fully as it... So I'm not sure if this is gonna work out, but we can give it a try. So I copy this one over 4 bars and see what happens. Strange enough, I don't start at the first beat. It's so this is already better. Now maybe I could see, because it's now beat, maybe if I move it to the first beat, what happens? I'm curious what happens. Then it changes again, of course. Then it's gone. Isn't that strange? Control Z, a good feature inside your computer, Control Z. Because you see, here's the first beat, and it starts at the second beat. Typically, isn't it? But anyhow, then you have a kind of, how you say that? I always can copy this 8 bars ahead. Then you have a kind of sequence which is repeating and each time a bit the same, still changing. So now I have it copied over and let's see how it fits in. it's not perfect, but it's just to show you what you can do simply by sequence. It's so it's just a fiddling around just from scratch. And I also changed a bit of the sequence here. And of course you have 2 octaves, you can up, down. So maybe that's also different now. So you have, with arpeggiators, you really can things which you cannot play, which are totally... You can shut down notes, so okay, so enough of this. So, I mean, it's just to show you what you simply can do by an arpeggiator. Start it really with a simple default, and don't be afraid to turn these dials. And sometimes, I mean, this sound is using just one oscillator. You see, when one oscillator really can make a very full sound. Of course, I could make it. I also added a phaser here, which I will shut down. But of course, if you change this sound now by adding a second oscillator, you can add a sinus waveform, which is, by the way, this is also cool. It's also nice, isn't it? I like this better. Okay, save preset as. Magic sign. So this sound is also less we have that one, and so now it's less interfering. So here's the arpeggiator. Yeah, it's just fiddling around, guys, and we started last week, and yeah, this other arpeggiator. So I changed in the arpeggiator sound from the saw wave to the sinus waveform, and then suddenly it did fit inside the piece of music. So that's also something you can do if you hear a nice arpeggiator sound. Change the waveform, maybe then it fits even better. Okay. So, okay, let's recap. We have a sound effects. We have this lead sound by Predator. This so noise rise, Predator, and I should rename this one Predator-2 lead, I call that one. This is a noise FX. It's this one. Then we have the bass from Predator-2. And then we have a chord sound. And you see that here, it's a chord-free chord. So if you go to the advanced page and you see this is a minor chord, simply a minor chord. And what I did here is the high pass filter, it's a bit open so that it doesn't have too much body. Makes it mix a bit better. So you can use the high pass filter also as a kind of correction filter instead of using the EQ. So let me show you what I mean by this. What I will do now is I do solo this one. Solo my microphone, solo the bass, and give it a, where's the kick? The kick. So now you only hear these things. Watch out, when I open now the cutoff frequency of this sound, it's the case that the bass is more separate, so you hear bass and this sound instead of a bit cluttered in the lower end. So listen very careful. So I put it off. Now it's off. And I put the high pass filter on. It's maybe a bit minimal. Maybe I should shut down the kick. Now you hear it clear. Without the high pass filter, the bass and this chord sound, which is essentially a lot higher, but still this chord sound has a lot of low end, although you might not expect it. So what it does with the bass, it clutters in some area. So if you use then the high pass filter, you can separate this bass from this chord sound. So I put it now on. You hear now it's more the bass and the chord sound. And if I put it off, it's more cluttery. So this high pass filter is very good also. Of course you must not go too far. This is too far. To keep your mix open. Yeah, it's of course a possibility to make the bass a bit different, but I think that one is okay. If you compare this with the other sounds together. So when I okay, so let's rename this with the sinus ARP sound. Flume, this is this bad sound. Oh no, this is another one. This is a sync sound, but I didn't like this sound. I still muted. Predator-2. It's a sequence sound, but I didn't like it. Hi-hat. And this is this. I shut it down. This flume sound. Okay, this is the Predator-2 XY pad. So okay, let's see. I put it on now. Let's see how that one responds. So this was this sound which I showed last time, remember, with the XY moving, controlling the volume. It's like a bit like a sidechain what you get, but that's not using by a sidechain, but the XY controls the volume a bit. So it moves because of that. So if I add the yeah, that's a bit like a side gig, but it's not a side chain. That's not a side chain. So it's really the XY. So the Y movement, which is the vertical movement, it's changing the volume. I can increase this, but that's too much. Again. Okay. So you see then, yeah, suddenly if things then come together, it comes alive. Okay, let's see in the chat room. Yeah, sure, definitely. So let's save this one. Okay. What do you think, guys, if I would, that takes a bit of time, if I would save all presets in one folder, make this one a MIDI file with all the notes, and then you could make a remix of it. And maybe we could make a nice, that you can win a nice item for this. So let me think, let me show you your thoughts in the chat room. Okay, so yeah, the chat room is always a bit in delay. So let's do this for next week. I will collect things together. Maybe I'll do it already, that I make it in the info section that you can download the MIDI file, the presets and the sounds I used, and then yeah, make a nice remix of it. And that will be a nice idea. Especially some people need to be in quarantine because of the situation worldwide. And the best thing maybe you can do is being creative behind the computer and creating music and enjoy the our plugins. So I will work on that. Okay, well, we have still a few minutes. Let me see that I can already, the XY pad is here. This sound, I think it's not okay. Maybe I should leave it in. Let's play it again. I think it's a bit over the top. Too much body in this sound. Yeah, makes totally, no, it's not good. So I delete this one. Maybe I would work a bit still on this arpeggiator because it still confuses me. Maybe it still could be a bit better. But I think there are some nice parts inside of this which you maybe could make a nice piece or a remix, whatever. Yeah, that would be a good one. Win Rob's Jupiter 8 for the best track. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so yeah, we're almost at the end of the live stream. I started with showing a bit of the Corona remix. I show a bit of the of my own music also in this live stream. It's totally different from what is here. This is a bit housey club thing. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. The live stream of last Thursday, which was what was again? It was the 5th of March. Yeah, it was a very nice one. Check that one out. You can still see it in the playlist live streams from 5 March. I already started with this piece, and maybe you missed that, and that's cool. You always can check it back. And there are some interesting things also did happen with Predator-2. A very nice live stream. Many people watched them afterwards. For instance, the last one from last week are now almost 500 views. So it's always good that we place them in the playlists so that people can watch them. Yeah, Space Sounds live stream. Yeah, that's good. Spacey sounds. Yeah, sure. Which would be a nice thing for the next stream, maybe. But next stream we catch up with this one. So maybe check maybe tomorrow, or that maybe I already uploaded the MIDI file for this, and the presets are used with a list what is inside of it, and then you can start the doing a nice remix. And we could say somewhere in the middle of April or so, people would send it in, and I could play them during the live stream, and then we could pick a winner. So let's do this. And of course, we had also another person who did already also a remix, and that one we can take in account as well. So see you next week. And I would say keep healthy. And if you need to stay in, well, be behind the computer. That's really a good idea. Bye.